Hi everybody and welcome to a brand new week here on TNT as we check around the main news stories around Thailand. Been a bit of a wet weekend here in Phuket and I believe other parts of Thailand, but some specific flooding here in Phuket which I'll talk about in just a moment. But some people have been asking about these radios, these old retro radios. Got another one here. Indeed, they do look very retro, but in fact they're brand new. They're actually sets that I'm using in my new resort. They're MP3 players, but they're designed to look like old retro radios. So you plug in your USB with all your all your favourite songs, and they come out of the speaker. I don't think they probably sound much better than the old transistors from the 1960s, which they're meant to look like, but I haven't even tried them yet. But they are going to be props in my new resort. More about that some other time, but let's move on to the main news stories today, and we'll start off with this from the Straits Times, and it says that worn-out screws at Bangkok's airport travelator caused accident that cost Thai mum her leg. And investigators have zeroed in on what caused a plate on a moving walkway at Bangkok's International Airport, resulting in a part of the leg of a 57-year-old Thai mum having to be amputated. Good news though, yesterday her son said that she was already taking her first steps. We'll check that out in just a moment. And a professor from the Kasetsart University in Bangkok said Ms. Kiri Ratana's leg fell through a plate that was being held only by worn-out screws as she was walking on the travelator at Terminal 2 of Don Muang Airport around 8:40 on June the 27th. The plate slid beneath the moving walkway, and Ms. Kiri Ratana's leg fell through the gap and was sucked into the gears end of the walkway. And the son said that his mother was planning to sue Airports of Thailand, the state-owned company that operates the airports across Thailand. A report in the Bangkok Post said the police were already examining footage from security cameras at the airport after earlier slamming the AOT for being uncooperative. Let's move now to a report. This is from dailymail.co.uk. Mother who lost her leg after getting caught in airport travelator takes her first steps since ordeal as police demand airport cooperate with probe. I believe that there has been some additional cooperation since this particular story was published as referenced in the Bangkok Post story. And this story says the woman, 57, walked with the help of 2 physiotherapists and a frame at hospital today, that's yesterday, after the horror injury at Don Muang International Airport in Bangkok on June 29. And paramedics amputated her leg at the airport and she was carried out on a stretcher. Here's video of Ms. Kiri Ratana taking her first steps, obviously recovering and enjoying the assistance there of those physiotherapists. So good to see that she is up and around, and she will go on to some sort of full recovery with the help of prosthetics in the future as the legal wrangling continues for her to get some sort of compensation. The Daily Mail report goes on saying her son said she complained it's like being a child learning to walk again, and she's vowed to sue the airport over the allegedly badly maintained travelator. He said, "My mum walked for 15 minutes and must practice every day. It's very encouraging. She's still as beautiful as ever despite everything that's happened. I hope that soon she'll be running faster than me." And airport bosses admitted, according to this article, the automatic walkway used by tens of thousands of people every day was to blame, as 3 bolts holding the metal surface plate the woman was standing on suddenly gave way. And a director of the Don Muang Airport claimed the walkways were maintained regularly and they were scheduled to be replaced with newer models in 2025. And Don Muang Airport is deeply saddened by the incident and ready to fully accept the responsibility as well as take care of the medical expenses and compensation. So the compensation they feel inclined to pay and the compensation that will be demanded in a lawsuit will probably be 2 quite different things, but we'll follow that story. But great news that, some 10 days after the incident, she was up and about with the help of physiotherapists, and we wish her some form of full recovery with the help of prosthetics in the future. Going to our next story now, and Thai PBS World reporting that 3 million baht reward offered for finding missing German businessman. And Hans Peter Mack appears to be missing, and 3 million Thai baht reward has been offered in this post published by Thai PBS World. And a reward of 3 million baht is being offered on social media to anyone who knows the whereabouts of a German real estate businessman who's reportedly been missing from his home in Banglamung district of Chonburi, and a 24-year-old woman, Piraya, who claims to have been living with a 62-year-old businessman for 5 years, told Manager Online that she filed a missing person report with the Nong Pru police on July the 5th. Apparently, he left his home on July the 4th to meet a foreign broker regarding a land deal on Samui Island. And she also said she's offering 100,000 baht for information about what's happened to him, adding that she's concerned for his safety because he's never been away from the home for several days. So 100,000 baht, 3 million baht, looks like there is a lot of money being offered as reward for any information about this man's whereabouts. And Piraya said the German has 2 sons, one living in Thailand and the other is about to arrive in Thailand from Spain. Going to some more information about this from the PattayaNews.com. Update: Pattaya police continue search for missing German man. And police reported yesterday that a forensic team is looking for fingerprints both inside and outside a bronze grey Mercedes-Benz believed to be that of a missing German real estate businessman, Mr. Hans Peter Mack, who's been missing since July the 4th, and police stated that there were mysterious stains inside the car that resembled coolant or bathroom cleaner. He believed that somebody had used the liquid to intentionally destroy any evidence. He said the liquid had been used to clean both the front and rear seats as well as the console, the steering wheel, gear lever, leaving trace marks from the corrosive substance everywhere inside the vehicle. And in the rear storage compartment, the police found a pair of sandals and some documents in a green envelope. The contents of the documents were not released to the press. And then a food vendor said she'd seen the particular car parked in the parking area of a condominium complex between the 5th and 6th of July, and she noticed 2 women emerging from the car, and then another witness, an unnamed grilled chicken vendor, also confirmed seeing similar individuals. He mentioned that he often noticed the Benz car pulling up in the area. Police disclosed that he'd already interviewed a real estate agent who met with Mr. Hans on the day that he went missing, identified only as Ms. Petra, apparently since she's been cleared of any involvement in the disappearance. And then late last night, police investigated a home in Pattaya, saying that they stated this was the last known rough area where Hans' cell phone signal had originated from. This lead came while following the movements of his car on CCTV and a partnership with a local cell phone company. But the home was a short-term rental, and according to the owners, the unit had been emptied since July the 7th, rented only since July the 3rd. Police were following up on tenants but had found no abnormalities. The fate of Mr. Hans remains unknown. A photo there published in that story by the Pattaya News of the missing man. Well, it goes without saying that if anybody knows anything about the whereabouts of this missing gentleman, that they should phone the Pattaya police. Thank you for tuning in. A big thanks to our sponsor, 5 Star Marine. There's a link in the description under this video, which will give you a link for some savings just for you. And thanks for tuning in over the weekend. On Saturday we had a full hour with Max from Phuket Insurance, and he was giving us some ideas on what we can and can't do with insurance these days, including health insurance in Thailand. If you'd like to see that video, I've put a link under this video. Quite a lot of questions answered by Max. And yesterday, of course, we had our Grumpy Old Men program. A lot of good response from that. It was also a very wet day in the southern island of Phuket. The Bangkok Post reporting that Phuket partly flooded, small vehicles stalled. Or a much more reliable headline than another headline I saw saying Phuket underwater, which wasn't the case. And heavy rains caused flooding and paralysed traffic for small vehicles in this southern resort province on Sunday morning. The Meteorological Department predicted that along the western coast of the south, including Phuket, it would rain in 40 to 60% of areas from Monday to Wednesday, and then 60 to 70% of all areas in the region on Thursday and Friday. Now, the funny thing is that yesterday I got up and I was driving around the island, going to firstly breakfast and then to various interior decorating places between about 7 a.m. up to 11 a.m. And I didn't even know about, and I certainly didn't confront any of this flooding. So it all came as a bit of a surprise to me. Obviously, there was quite heavy rain, but it was in isolated areas. This is a radar shot from about 7 a.m. yesterday, showing that there was indeed rain in the area, but the red is what we'd call heavy rain, and there wasn't that much of it. But it seems it fell in places where it did the worst damage, that red area somewhere Phuket under all that radar rain. This is the forecast for today. It shows that between about 10 o'clock and 2 o'clock is the worst time for heavy rain today. And the PhuketNews.com reporting that flood warnings issued. Heavy rain overnight, that's Saturday night and Sunday morning, resulted in a series of floods across the island, prompting police to close off several streets, and several streets in Phuket Town became completely impassable, and the water level in the Bangkok, which flows right through the middle of Phuket Town, has risen to dangerous levels. Several streets were flooded, the story reports, and Patong also experienced heavy flooding, particularly near the police station and surrounding areas where the long-term upgrade of the storm drainage system has still yet to be completed. Several streets were closed off in this vicinity. So the heaviest rain seems to be in the most populated areas in Patong on the west coast and Phuket Town on the east coast. And I'm sure people in Pattaya will recognise the old story about the works continuing on the storm water drainage that never seems to be completed and never seems to work when the heaviest rains come. And we go now to ThaiPBSWorld.com, a shocking story from the weekend. 3 trail runners die, 16 injured in bus accident in Sisaket province, and this province right on the very east coast of Thailand, on the border of Cambodia. And 3 trail runners were killed and 16 others injured when their bus plunged into a ravine as it was making its ascent in the Phnom Dankrek mountain range in Sisaket. This happened yesterday morning. According to a local emergency unit's webpage, several runners were trapped in the wreckage after the accident. They had to use power tools to cut through the twisted metal to extract them, and they were rushed to hospitals in the area. And more details from the PattayaNews.com. Bus falls off mountain road in Sisaket, 4 people killed, 27 injured. So an upgrade in the number of people killed in this bus incident. And there's a photo, and the photo doesn't really help me quite understand exactly what happened, but it looks like it's fallen off the road into some very heavy jungle and got stuck in the trees. And at least 4 people have been killed and 24 injured when a bus carrying participants for trail running fell from a steep mountain road in Sisaket. And it says a bus carrying several marathon runners flipped over whilst it was trying to climb a mountain road. And the road where the accident occurred is a 2-lane curved road without a central divider. The weather conditions at the time of the accident were reportedly normal. As for the deceased, one was a 52-year-old female, while others were still unidentified at the time of the publication of that story, and that from the PattayaNews.com. Going now to coconuts.co, their Bangkok edition. Nearly half of Bangkok's fire extinguishers defective, according to City Hall. And more than 19,000 fire extinguishers were found to be damaged in inspections conducted by the BMA. Following the death of a high school student during a routine fire safety drill, inspections found that nearly 20,000 of approximately 44,000 tanks to be damaged. The process of replacing the damaged extinguishers has begun, with about 10,000 being ordered. And they're going to be using a new QR code, and the codes will be used to identify the unit's type, location and the last maintenance. Officials said it would help them track communities lacking equipment and improve emergency response efforts. The Bangkok governor expressed regret over last month's incident where an extinguisher exploded during a fire drill at a school in Bangkok's Dusit district. The explosion sent a boy flying through the air, killing him. 11 others were injured. So horrifying to think that, half of the fire extinguishers checked as the rain starts again around Bangkok were found to be defective. Let's hope that now that they've found that they can actually maintain them much better, use QR codes and the technology to keep track of them in the future. The next article today from nationthailand.com and reports show of force. Bangkokians fill the grounds of Central World to show support for Pita as PM. Move Forward Party leader Pita Limjareonrat's fans braved the rain on Sunday evening to show him support that should be ahead of the PM's election on Thursday. Yes, that election is set to start this Thursday in Parliament, a joint sitting of both Houses of Parliament. It'll start at 8:30am. My gut feeling is we won't have a Prime Minister on Thursday or Friday or Saturday, and I think it could drag out for quite a while. I hope I'm wrong. And this story says that hundreds of Bangkokians, many dressed in orange, the symbolic colour of the party, had responded to Peter's call to gather in the grounds of Central World Complex. And the House and Senate are scheduled to convene on Thursday. I mentioned that the Move Forward-led 8-party coalition commands 312 MPs, but it still needs 64 votes, either from senators or MPs outside the bloc, to elect him. And Pita said the coalition had collectively won 20 million or 72% of the votes cast in the May 14 election. Hence, he said the coalition, that's an 8-party coalition, has the mandate to form a government and senators should heed the people's will. And there he is standing in front. And I have to say, all the photos that I saw, it looked like a lot more than hundreds. It seems to me that it might have been at least the lower thousands. Another version of this story from Thai PBS World. Supporters turn out in droves in Bangkok to offer moral support to Pita, and it says a large number, so they didn't even bother trying to guess, of supporters of the Move Forward Party gathered in front of the Central World shopping mall at the Ratcha Prasong intersection yesterday. Rain at about 4pm forced people to take shelter on the skywalk, while others used the umbrellas as they waited for Pita and the party's Bangkok MPs. And the party took all but one of the 34 parliamentary seats in Bangkok. The other seat went to the Pattaya candidate, which of course are part of the coalition. So Bangkok pretty much a sea of orange on that May 14 election. Going to our next story now, this from nationthailand.com. AOT announces expansion plans for the Don Muang airport. That's the best thing you can do after a bad week of publicity is announce that you're going to be spending money on investment. And Airports of Thailand is looking to the future with an ambitious plan to expand the Don Muang airport over the next 6 years. They said an estimated investment of 36.83 million baht has been approved by the cabinet. That's the outgoing cabinet. And down the bottom there, construction will begin in 2025 and will be operational in 2029. And the objectives of the development will be to accommodate passenger traffic, improve service quality for both air and ground transportation, enhance efficiency and reduce congestion, without really saying very much at all. And the current capacity of the airport is at 30 million passengers per year. And they're going to increase the airport's capacity to accommodate an additional 50 million passengers per year. And funding will come from the AOT's revenue, which is sufficient for the investment. And current estimates anticipate that passenger numbers will recover to 95 million this year and continue to grow to 200 million within 2027. So somebody believes that the capacity of air traffic will more than double in the next 4 years in Thailand. So, as I said, nothing like a little bit of investment announcement to deflect some of the bad PR that's been heading the way of the Don Muang airport officials over recent weeks. I thank you for watching today. Hopefully you're a bit more up to date with things happening around Thailand. If you get an opportunity, please subscribe to the channel. Give us a like, or even a dislike if you didn't like the program. It's all engagement, but it's been great having you with us over the past 15 minutes or so. We look forward to seeing you again tomorrow.